Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm bringing you my August TBR, and considering I didn't even get halfway through my July TBR, it's going to be interesting to say the least. I'm really hoping August goes so much better than July, but we'll see. It's very ambitious. I'm taking part in 2 readathons, one of which is the one I'm co-hosting with Liv, which is the Readathon Sidekicks edition, hence why I've just decorated a little bit. The only Funkos I have of our sidekicks that we have is Sebastian, Olaf and Hey Hey, even though Pua is here too, Hey Hey. And then I don't have a Pascal one, but I do have my Pascal ears. My mum does have a Chip Funko, but I wasn't going to go and get hers. I want a Pegasus Funko, but anyway, we're getting off track. First up, I'm going to go through the books that I have picked for Royal Readathon. Then I'm going to talk about what else I've got going on, or what else I am planning to do in August. So let's start off with the first prompt, which is Olaf. And for Olaf, I'm going to be reading Sirens of Los Angeles by Cadis Knight. So the prompt for Olaf is to read a book under 300 pages. This is a tiny little novella, so it's definitely under 300 pages. And I'm very excited to read it. I have it on ebook and I'm very excited. The next prompt is Mushu, a book with a dragon, and for this I'll be reading Fire with Fire by Destiny Soraya. I'm obsessed with this edition. This was the Fairy Loot edition and it just sounds absolutely incredible, and there's a massive dragon in it, so it's gonna work. Next up is Sebastian, a book with music, and for this I am actually picking an e-arc. I know I have a few books physically that have music in that I could have used for this, but I've decided to go for this e-arc because although it doesn't come out until like December, January time, I am so excited for this, and that is If This Gets Out by Sophie Gonzalez and Kale Dietrich. I apologise if I pronounced that wrong. So this book centres around a 2 members of a boy band who I believe have fallen in love, and they have like a secret relationship that cannot get out, and I'm very excited for this. It's one of my most anticipated books and I'm so happy to have an e-arc of it. The next prompt is Gus Gus, a cheesy book, and for this I'm going for Love on the Main Stage by S.A. Domingo. I read this author's other book late last year and I absolutely loved it. It's very cliche, it's pretty cheesy, and I expect the exact same from this, and I am very much here for this. This is a way contemporary and it's set at a music festival, which makes me so happy. Next up we have Chip, a children or middle grade book, and for this I'll be reading The Great Brain Robbery by P.G. Bell. This is the sequel to A Train to Impossible Places, and I will be buddy reading this with Helen over at Helen's Bookhaven. We're both very much looking forward to reading this, and it will be really fun to do another buddy read with Helen. Next we have Hey Hey, a book with comedy, and I am going to be reading Take a Hint, Danny Brown by Talia Hibbert. I absolutely adored Chloe Brown and it made me laugh so much, and I've heard the second and third book are just as comedic, so I'm very much looking forward to reading this. I love the little one-liners in the first book and I just love the sassiness, and I'm just very much excited to read Danny's story next. Next up we have Pascal, a book with a colourful cover, and for this I'll be reading The Battle for Raw by Jenny McLaughlin. This is the 3rd book in the Raw trilogy and I am so unbelievably excited for this. It's a very new release, it literally came out last month, and I was going to pick a backlist book, but me and my mum are going to buddy read this because we have buddy read. I don't think we buddy read the first book, but we've buddy read the second book, and we both are really looking forward to seeing how this concludes, even though we're really sad that it's the end of the trilogy. Next up we have Abu, a book with greed, and for this I'll be reading Monsters of Men by Patrick Ness. This is the 3rd book in the Chaos Walking trilogy, and if you know anything about this trilogy, you will know that the mayor of Prentisstown, which this is not a spoiler, this is like literally the first book and I'm pretty sure it's in the synopsis. The mayor of Prentisstown, where our main character Todd comes from, is the he is like power hungry, he's greedy, he wants to be like, he very much is happy being a mayor, but he's not good. So I'm looking forward to reading this. This is really chunky, so I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. I could have picked a smaller book, but I am really itching to finish this trilogy because I have adored the first 2 books. Also, my friend Ellen's going to be really happy that I'm finally finishing this, because she's the reason I actually started this series, so thank you, Ellen. Next up we have Ray, A Book with Death, and I'm sort of like cheating a little bit here. I am picking Last Breath by Rachel Caine. This is the 11th book in the Morganville series. I can't actually remember if anyone dies in this book, but there's vampires and vampires are dead, so it works because the town is literally run by vampires. So it's going to work, and I will be obviously buddy reading this with my mum and sister because we have buddy read the entire series up to this point, and we will continue to do so. And yeah, I am looking forward to this one because I can't actually remember what happens in this. I remember what happens in the next few, but not this one. So yeah. And then finally, for the Pegasus prompt, read a book with mythology, and I will be reading the Loki Agent of Asgard complete collection. This obviously is a collection of all the comics in this collection, and I'm really excited. Obviously this is like Norse mythology because it's Loki, but if you know me, you'll know that I am like fully obsessed with Loki. I have been for a while, but since the TV show come out, I have been even more obsessed than I already was. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. Plus, I've been wanting this collection for so long, and I only just managed to get it a couple of months back. So I just need to read it now. So those are my books for the readathon I am going to be co-hosting. I'm also going to be taking part in another readathon. It is going to be hosted by Jade over at JD Ray Reads, and it is the Polarthon Meltdown. So if you know of Jade's channel, she hosts a week-long readathon in usually February time called Polarthon, where you read books which are polar fantasy. This is a 36-hour readathon that takes place, I believe it's the 28th to the 29th of August, but I'll leave her announcement video in the description box below, so please go check that out. She will give a lot more details than me, obviously, because it's her readathon. But I'm really looking forward to it. There are 3 prompts for the 36 hours, and I'm really excited to get stuck in and read them. So for the first prompt, it is a book that features global warming, and for this I will be reading Melt by Ellie Fountain. I got this in a Tales by Mal, and it sounds really interesting, and it is literally about I'm pretty sure it's about the ice melting. I mean, it's literally got 2 worlds collide on the melting ice. So I feel like this is perfect for global warming, so I'm looking forward to reading that. Then we have a book that features weather, so this could be like weather magic or just like anything where weather is a prominent part, and for this I'll be reading Rainbow Grey by Laura Ellen Anderson. I'm very excited to read this. Everyone I know seems to have already read it, but I haven't got round to it yet, so this is perfect because I'm pretty sure this has a lot of weather magic in from what I've heard, so I'm looking forward to reading this. And also, 2 middle grades, they're going to be so quick for me to read, so yeah. And then the third prompt is anything with ice, so this could be in the title, on the cover, in the book, and for this I'll be reading Barbarian Alien by Ruby Dixon, which is the 2nd book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. I'm very excited to read this. I absolutely loved Ice Planet Barbarians. I have no shame in admitting that. It was amazing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing to reading the sequel. And it's also a very short book. It's less than 300 pages, so it's gonna work. So that's it for the readathons, but that is not it for my TBR, because why would it be? Why would it be? So Helen over at Helen's Book Haven hosts EuroVisionathon in the April-May time, and this year after EuroVisionathon finished, she decided to basically create a EuroVisionathon book club. So what we're doing each month, there is a book that's being picked. Obviously there's like a few suggestions and then a poll, and whichever book wins the poll is the book that we read for the book club. There's a Discord and everything. I'll leave Helen's channel in the description box below. I'll leave the announcement for the August book, so you can go check that out. But the book for August is one I've been wanting to reread for a while, for a year to be exact, since I first read it, and that is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. Now, I wasn't sure which copy I was going to read because I've got a lot of editions, but I think I'm going to go for this one. I do also have the audiobook, so I might do a bit of like mixed listening and reading, but I'm really excited to reread this. This is one of my favourite books of last year. It was one of my most anticipated books, and it did not disappoint for me. I know a lot of people it did disappoint, but for me, I absolutely adored it, and I'm so excited to reread it. And then for buddy reads, I have 3 that aren't the ones I've already mentioned, because 2 of them were actually for this month. Actually, they were all for this month, and none of them happened. So first up, me and Liv need to finish Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassie Clare. We did start. I got the first 11 chapters in. I think Liv is aiming to catch up to me by the 1st of August, and then we're gonna like carry on with our daily pages, but we need to finish this. It's yeah, we need to read this, so we're gonna tackle this in August. And then me and Fran were supposed to read Lyriel by Garth Nix in July, but with my world being chaotic as hell, it never happened. So we are rolling this over to August, and we're going to buddy read it in August instead. I still have all the things marked out, so at least I haven't got to do that. But yeah, so we're going to be reading this. I'm really excited to read it. I said this last month, blah blah blah. You get the drift. And then when you see this one, I forgot to add this to my July TBR video, but I was supposed to read it in July with Jazz and Kelly, and it didn't happen. So we're going to tackle it in August. And when I put this up, when I hold this book up, you're probably going to be thinking, oh, but you hated the first book in the first series, so why are you reading this? Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. Now, I did dislike Assassin's Apprentice, and I have not read the 2nd and 3rd book in that trilogy. However, I have heard from so many people that 1, you do not need to have read that full trilogy to read Ship of Magic, because this trilogy follows a completely different set of characters. So whilst there are like little Easter eggs for if you have read the first trilogy, you don't have to have read it. Secondly, I think I'm going to enjoy this a lot more. This is set like on sea. There's ships, there's magic ships that can come to life, and that just sounds so interesting. So I'm going to give Hobb another go with this trilogy. I am very tempted to try and give the other 2 books in the Farseer trilogy a go, but while I'm feeling slumpy as it is, I don't want to force myself to read something that could put me into a slump, whereas this I am intrigued by. So me, Jazz and Kelly are going to attempt to read this. It's chunky, so I think I'm going to probably see if I can get hold of the audiobook on Scribd. This is a library book. I didn't go and buy it because I wouldn't do that knowing I didn't like the first book in the first trilogy. So I did get this out of the library, but I think it runs out. I don't know if I can renew it again because I got it out a while back because we were supposed to read it in July. So I do have the ebook for it. So I'll probably listen to the audiobook if it's on Scribd and read the ebook if I want to switch and change. So there's that as well. I feel like there are other things that I have missed, but if I have, it's tough luck. This is my main TBR. There's a lot. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. There are 17 books on this TBR. 17. 17. I don't know why I'm doing this, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you are taking part in either the Royal Readathon or if you're going to take part in Polarthon, let me know in the comments below. We really hope to see you at the Raw Readathon Twitter and whatnot. We will be hosting sprints twice a week throughout August. We're going to be having special guests on each one. We are still in the process of planning a few, but we have a list of people in mind that we've just got to get around to asking. But we have already secured a few people. We're very excited. We'll be releasing more information on the sprints nearer the time on our Twitter, so keep an eye out for that. But that's it for today's video, and I will see you next time. Bye.